Welcome back, y'all, to DFJ Hoops. As always, I'm your host, Andre. And how about the Boston Celtics? The Celtics take a 2-0 lead in the NBA Finals and look to head on to Dallas for game three. And they look to go up 3-0 in the NBA Finals. We're going to be talking about that. But before we get into this live, please make sure you hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's DFJ Hoops. And I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support that I get from my regulars, from Humble, Tuna Sports, JJ, like everybody that shows me love. I appreciate it. But let's get right into this. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into this. So just a brief recap from game one in the NBA Finals. So let me get to this comment right here. Shout out to my man Humble Man 420. Like I said, bro, he said shout out to you, bro. Keep grinding, bro. You already know, bro. I appreciate the support from you, bro. I appreciate you. You're always in here supporting me. But um, a few takeaways, a few brief recap from game one in the NBA Finals. So I dropped the video. It wasn't a live, but it was an eight to 10 minute video recapping game one from the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. And yeah, so a few takeaways was that for number one, Dallas didn't really have a lot of assists. Luka Doncic finished with 1 assist, which probably is his lowest number of assists in his playoff career. So, and Dallas as a team, they only finished with 9 assists, telling you that it was little to no ball movement. Players were not moving. A few cuts, but for the most part, they just played into the hands of the Boston Celtics, and that made the job of the Celtics much more easier because they didn't really have to exert all that energy, especially on the offensive side of the floor, with all the players struggling. Kyrie Irving has been struggling mightily so far this series. And I'm gonna get to Kyrie. We're gonna talk about him, but first of all, let me just start with the Boston Celtics. They definitely did what they were supposed to do. They took care of home court advantage, going up 2-0. And I think in game two, the hero for game two is this guy right here, Drew Holiday. Now, shout out to Drew Holiday. I'm a huge fan of Drew. I mean, the Sixers drafted him back in 08 or 09, one of those years. He was with the Sixers for a few years before the Sixers traded him to the New Orleans Pelicans. And he ended up he ended up getting traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. They won a championship. But he got traded last offseason, to the Portland Trailblazers, and Boston ended up picking him up by giving up just Malcolm Brogdon, and a few first round picks, and Robert Williams as well. But Robert Williams was not even playing because he was always hurt, so it didn't really hurt the Boston Celtics. But Drew Holiday, I'm just glad that he's on a team that really appreciates him. I mean, when he was with the Milwaukee Bucks, yeah, he was on certain nights he was relied upon to be the second option because Chris Middleton was always dealing with injuries. When they played the Celtics back in 2022, Drew Holiday had to be the second option for that team. But he was so inconsistent as a second option offensively. Defensively, we already knew what he was going to be. He's solid defensively, even though he did get cooked against Jimmy Butler. But for the most part, he's always solid defensively. But the thing is, I think Milwaukee hit the panic button by trading him because of what happened against the Miami Heat last year when he got cooked by Jimmy Butler. But like I said, you are relying upon him to be the second option and to be the second option and guard the other team's best player. That puts a lot of pressure on him. But on this Boston Celtics team, he's not expected to be the second option. He's not expected to be the third option. He's fourth option, fifth option for most nights. I mean, even though in this game right here, he was the leading scorer for the Boston Celtics. He finished with 26 points, but you don't always rely upon him to be the second option or the third option, but he is capable of being that. He's capable of being a leading scorer on the team. He's capable of taking all the shots. He's capable of contributing to a team on a very, very high level. And he did just that in this game right here. When I look at the stat sheet, he finished with 26 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 assists. Now he's a second leading scorer for the Celtics in these playoffs. He's averaging about 19 points. Let me see. So yeah, 19 points, 9.5 rebounds. So if I round that up, that's 10 rebounds and 4 assists. And he's shooting 50-40. He's shooting 50-40-90 from the field, which is so efficient. And on the defensive side of the floor, he's been so solid, especially when he guards Kyrie Irving or when he guards Luka Doncic. He's really making it very, very difficult for them, especially with Kyrie Irving, who I'll get, like I said, I'm gonna get to in a few seconds. But Drew Holiday has been solid on both sides of the floor, offensively and defensively. I just read his numbers to y'all. 19 points on 50, 40, 90 splits. Now, yeah, it is only 2 games. It's not a big of a sample size, right? I know people are going to say that, but for the most part, at home, he's been very, very solid for the Boston Celtics, and he's playing very, very efficient for them. Jayson Tatum has not been the player that people really expect him to be, but Jayson Tatum has been doing other things. I mean, he's not scoring, but he's doing other things like facilitating, playing defense, and rebounding the basketball as well. Humble says, my OG at work said Porzingis was faking his injury until the I mean, hey, that could be true. I don't know, man. That could be true because he missed all that time and came back in the NBA Finals. And I mean, game one, he was just fantastic. He finished that game with 20 points off the bench, which it was great for the Celtics. But in that first half, he was unstoppable, getting to every spot that he wanted on the floor, punishing mismatches underneath the basket. He made a lot of mid range shots over Kyrie Irving, Jaden Hardy, Josh Green, and all those other guys. So he was solid, and he was solid last night as well. But he didn't give you 20 points, right? But he did just as enough as a guy coming off the bench, and that's the Celtics really needed that. But back to Drew Holiday, I'm glad that he's playing at this level because people didn't really expect him to be playing this good because people thought he was over after that series against the Miami Heat. But he's proven to us that he's not yet over. He still has a lot of good years left in the tank, and he proved that in the game last night against the Dallas Mavericks. And I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy for Drew Holiday. But speaking of Jaylen Brown, shout out to Jaylen Brown. In my opinion, I think Jaylen Brown is the Finals MVP for the Celtics as of currently. I mean, he's playing at a very, very high level, offensively and defensively. He's playing some great, great individual defense, perimeter defense on Kyrie Irving, on Luka Doncic. I mean, he's the primary defender on Luka Doncic, and he's a leading scorer in this series. So that shows you his two-way ability, right? And a lot of people are saying he should have made the all defensive team, which I think the league didn't really want 3 Celtics players on that defensive team, if you really think about it, because Drew Holiday was on the team, Derek White was on the team. So putting Jaylen Brown on that team, that's gonna be a little bit. People are gonna complain about it. So I think that's why they didn't put him on that team. But he's been solid defensively. I mean, forcing a lot of turnovers, right? Contesting a lot of shots, making it difficult for players on the Dallas Mavericks. Now, Luka Doncic is Luka Doncic. He's going to make his shots regardless. He's going to get to his spots. He's going to elevate, rise, get to the free throw line. So that's Luka. But he's really bothering Kyrie Irving and all those other guys. PJ Washington, Derrick Jones Jr. Jaylen Brown has been playing some great, great team defense and individual defense in these finals, and that's why I think, for me personally, he's the Finals MVP as of currently. I mean, I know it's only 2 games in. There's a lot of basketball left to be played, so you can't just, like I said, it's a small sample size. But I think if there's an early favorite for Finals MVP, it should be Jaylen Brown. Now, Jaylen Brown finished this game with, I think, 21 points, four rebounds, and 7 assists. It didn't even seem like he had 7 assists, right? But he did turn the ball over a few times, 6 times, 3 personal fouls, had 3 steals and 0 blocks. In the game prior, he had 3 blocks and three steals. But in this game right here, he had 3 steals, poking the ball multiple times from Kyrie Irving, from Luka Doncic, and picking up, recovering loose balls. I mean, he was all over the floor, offensively and defensively, and that's exactly what you want from your players. You want players to play hard every single possession. You don't want them to take plays off, right? If they have the shot, you want them to take it. You want them to make it, right? But Jaylen Brown, like I said, he's been so fantastic for this Boston Celtics team, and if he continues to play at this level and continues to be as impactful on both sides of the floor, and if the Celtics win, I have no doubt in my mind that he might be named Finals MVP. But let's talk about the Celtics for a second. I mean, I've been talking about these individual players. Boston didn't really shoot the 3 ball very good, and that's what got me pissed off because I was saying to myself that Dallas, you have an opportunity because the Celtics are not making threes. They missed their first 8 threes before on the ninth attempt. That's when Al Horford made that huge 3-point shot from the weak side corner. So I was saying to myself that Dallas has an opportunity, but players are not stepping up. And mainly, I'm talking about this guy right here, Kyrie Irving. Kyrie has been very, very disappointing in these finals. Now, he's lost his last 12 or 11 games against the Celtics, both regular season and in the playoffs. I don't think if they count since 2022 when he got swept, that probably is part of it. But it's just a bad look for Kyrie Irving, man. It's just a bad look for him to play as bad as he's been. Now, I don't know if the Celtics crowd are getting to him or the moment is just big for him, but the thing is, Kyrie has been in the finals before. He's played at an all-time level in the finals before, back in 2016. Now, I know that was about 8 years ago, but if you talk about having experience in the finals, Kyrie has been in these situations before. He's been down 3-1, and we saw how superb he played to help that Cleveland Cavaliers team come back down from a 3-1 deficit. So we've seen him play at a high level, right? And in the next season, in 2017, he was also playing at a high level, averaging 29 points in that finals against Golden State. So you would think that Kyrie, having the finals experience, he would come into this finals and play very great, but it hasn't been that way for him. In this series, I pulled up his stats from these playoff series, and he's the third leading scorer for the Celtics, which should not be happening, right? If you're Dallas and you want a chance to win this championship, Kyrie cannot be the third leading scorer. But it's only 2 games, like I said. He's averaging 14 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 35% from the field, 0% from the 3-point line. He's yet to make a three in these finals, and he's shooting 100% from the free throw line. I mean, he's only attempted 2 free throws, so that's a little bit over exaggerated. But he has a 37% true shooting percentage, and that is just egregiously bad from your second option to be having these kind of shooting splits. His offensive rating in these playoffs is 77, which is very, very, very terrible. And on defense, he's also getting cooked as well because he can't really guard a Jayson Tatum, a Jaylen Brown. He can't even guard Drew Holiday. He can't guard Derek White, and they're just abusing Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic on the perimeter because these guys are not good perimeter defenders. They give up a lot of dribble penetration, right? And Boston just gets in the paint and they start making plays from there, start kicking out to open shooters, kicking it out to Derek White, kicking it out to Al Horford, Drew Holiday. Jayson Tatum had multiple dribble penetrations where he got in the lane, collapsed the defense, kicked it out to Drew Holiday, and Drew Holiday just pump faked and took 2 dribbles, got to the basket, and finished with his offhand, or sometimes finished with his strong hand. So Dallas is getting cooked on the defensive side of the floor, and offensively, Kyrie's not really giving you much. Now, Luka Doncic did what he could. He did finish with the triple double, 32 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists, and he was for the most part, he was efficient from the field. He was 57 from the field, 44% from the 3, and at the free throw line, that's where he was terrible. He was 50% from the free throw line. Attempted 8 free throws and only made 4 of them, which if he makes all his free throws, they probably have a chance of winning this game. But if Kyrie Irving also shows up, they have a better chance winning this game right here. And I got to question Jason Kidd on his defensive strategies, because how can you be playing a switching type defense when you have defensive liabilities all over the floor? Now, I saw on Twitter that some Clipper fans are saying that Luka Doncic is not that guy. Luka is this, Luka is that. But those same Clipper fans on Twitter, those same Clipper fans are the ones who were questioning Ty Lue's defensive schemes against the Mavs in the first round. So if you're going to blame your coach for your team playing terrible, why are you not blaming J. Kidd for the Mavs playing terrible? Because Luka Doncic did what he could offensively. Now, we all know Luka is terrible defensively, so he's not going to switch onto the perimeter on the island and start locking guys up. That's not him. He's not a good defender. He's not a good perimeter defender. Now, in the post, he's solid, right? Because you can't just move him out the way by Will. So we know what he can give you defensively on that side of the floor. In terms of interior defense, not perimeter defense, right? Now offensively, he did what he could. Like I said, 32 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists. But he did have 8 turnovers, and that turnovers really hurt the Dallas Mavericks because it seemed like Boston almost every single time they scored on those turnovers. Now Dallas as a team had 15 turnovers, and what you call it, Boston converted 21 points. They scored 21 points off of those turnovers. So Dallas has to get better on that side of the floor. Like I said, Luka Doncic, eight turnovers. That is so terrible, right? So he only had 3 assists. If you really look at it that way, they have to get better. They have to move the ball. They have to share the ball. Now, give Boston a lot of credit. They have really eliminated that lob game. I only saw 2 lobs in this game right here. What the first one was the Luka Doncic lob to Derrick Jones Jr., and the second one was Kyrie Irving lobbing it up to Daniel Gafford in that fourth quarter before Boston went on that run, scoring I think 8 straight points, and then ultimately winning that game. But yeah, you have to give Boston a lot of credit because they have found a way to eliminate Dallas's pick and roll offense and primarily the lobs. And that's where you give Joe Mazzulla a lot of credit, Now, some Celtics fans, I don't know, for whatever reason, they bash their own coach, right? I've been probably one of the ones on YouTube that gives Joe Mazzulla a lot of credit because I think he's a good coach. Now, I believe he's better than Ime Udoka. I don't care what anybody says. If you really want me to give you my reasons as to why Joe Mazzulla is better than um Ime Udoka, I can definitely give it to you. But I say Ime Udoka. Joe Mazzulla had all this time to prepare for the NBA Finals, and he came up with a very, very great defensive strategy, which is put Jayson Tatum on Daniel Gafford to eliminate or disrupt any lob plays and put Al Horford on Derrick Jones Jr. because Derrick Jones Jr. is not a lob threat, right? Now, he did make 1 lob in last game, but for the most part, he's not a threat that's going to kill you with lobs. That's not his game, right? So they make that defensive strategy, and it has really helped them win these 2 games and really limits Dallas's offense because Dallas used to score a lot of points off that 2-man game, right? With Luka Doncic and Daniel Gafford, and then Luka just lob it up to him, and Daniel Gafford would jump into the heavens and grab it and dunk it. But in this series, they've really eliminated all of that. So you definitely have to give Boston all that credit. Boston has, like I said, they have the athletes and they have the personnel to keep up with the Dallas Mavericks on the perimeter, and it has really made their lives a living hell. And Kyrie Irving has been affected by it mightily. Kyrie finished this game with 16 points, 2 rebounds, and 6 assists, but he was 7 to 18 from the field. 0 for 3. Like I said, he is yet to make a 3-point shot in these finals. And if Kyrie Irving is playing good, Dallas has a chance. But if he's not playing good and Boston is playing, if they're playing great defense, Boston is definitely going to win a championship. And this playoff series is kind of giving me vibes of a 5-game series because Kyrie Irving has not stepped up to the level that I thought he was going to step up to. And I don't know if it's the crowd that's getting to him or Boston's defense. Now, Boston's defense has been great. They've stifled him. They stifled him really well. So, like I said, you have to give Boston a lot of credit on that side of the floor. But at the same time, Kyrie Irving has not been as aggressive as you would expect, especially in these playoffs. He would really, in the first half, he'll kind of like rest. I mean, not rest, but he'll kind of like let Luka do all the hard work. And then in the second half, he'll start going off. But we haven't really seen that in the finals, right? We haven't really seen that. Now, Luka was going off in the first half, right? He was going off. He was scoring. He was looking like Michael Jordan with those fall away shots on Jayson Tatum, on Derek White. He was making it look easy. He was getting to the basket. He was hitting threes. There was one play where Dallas ran their double drag action, and Luka Doncic flashed to the weak side far corner, and he caught it and he shot it. That's probably one of his only catch and shoot threes in these series. And I said to myself, okay, Luka shooting catch and shoot threes. Okay, I love to see that because you love to see Luka work off ball a little bit. You don't want to. I hate to see when he's always dribbling the ball, always has the ball in his hands. I mean, he's the primary ball handler for this team, so for the most part, he's gonna have the ball in his hands for the most part, right? But sometimes it's just great to see him work off ball a little bit to kind of like get his teammates involved a little bit. Now, this play right here, he flashed to the corner and shot that three. Now, I don't know if they designed that play or they just took what the defense gave them. But that was a good play. And I think Dallas should be running a lot of those actions. Now they do run them, but they run them for Kyrie, they run it for other guys. They don't really run it for Luka. So when I saw Luka come off that screen and flash to the corner and hit that three, I was very, very glad. I was happy to see that. But Luka did what he could, and he really didn't really get enough help from his teammates. Now, I think everybody on Dallas finished in double digits, right? So Derrick Jones, 11 points, PJ Washington, 17, Daniel Gafford, 13, Kyrie, 16, and he finished with 32 points. But a lot of those points were not really impactful. And like I was saying, Boston struggled very, very mightily from the 3-point line to start the game. Now, Boston take a lot of threes, right? They shoot about 40 threes a game. Now, in this game right here, they shot 39 threes and they only made 10 of them, right? So you would expect Dallas to kind of like capitalize on the situation right here and win this game, but they just couldn't do it because their defense is not as great, right? Their defense is not as great. They're giving up a lot of dribble penetrations. Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. Now, I wrote in my notes, Luka gave up 19 points and Kyrie Irving gave up 23 points. I think Luka, they were inefficient on him, right? But if you think of the amount of dribble penetration that he gave up and Tatum like driving past him like multiple times and then getting into the lane, collapsing the defense, and then finding the open man. I mean, Drew Holiday had those plays where he'll catch a pump fake, take two dribbles and get to the paint and just lay the ball up. And right. And Jaylen Brown also abused these guys from the perimeter, and there was one play where he dunked the ball so ferociously. I was like, yo, just there's nothing that Dallas's defense could do with these guys because they're so athletic, and Dallas has a lot of defensive liabilities on the floor. So playing a switching type defense is not gonna result in a positive way. And I was questioning J Kidd. Like I said, I'm questioning the coaching because why are they switching on defense? Because they don't really have the personnel to be doing that in the finals. Shout out to my guy Tuna Sports One. He says I wanted the Mavs to win because of Kyrie, but this series is over in 5. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way because I didn't really expect Kyrie Irving to play as terrible as he's playing, right? Like I gave the stats, bro. He's averaging 14 points on 37% true shooting percentage. That's terrible. That is so terrible. And he's yet to hit a 3-point shot in the series. Tuna Sports says Boston will close this out at home. Yeah, I kind of feel that same way too. I think Dallas might win game 3. They might lose game 4. And then Boston's going to close it out in game 5 on their home floor. And that's what it seems like. That's what it feels like, especially if Kyrie keeps playing the way he's playing because he's been so terrible for his team on both sides of the floor. J Kidd is not putting him in positions to be successful. The entire team, I mean, they're switching on defense, and Boston is just taking advantage of it because these guys cannot keep up with them on the perimeter or from the perimeter. So I kind of feel the same way, bro. Give me a second. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So let me get into these last three. Let me get into these last three things, and then I'll probably drop the link. And if anybody wants to come in, they can come in. But let's talk about Jayson Tatum for a second. So Jayson Tatum has not performed to the level that me personally that I hold him to. I consider Jayson Tatum as a top five player in the league. Right? I think he's top five, but in the finals, he's not playing at that level in terms of in terms of scoring wise. He finished this game with 16 points. I mean 18 points, nine rebounds, 12 assists, but he was 6 of 22 from the field, and that is so terrible. But Jayson Tatum found other ways to be impactful in this game, in my opinion. He was playing some great interior defense, right, and some great perimeter defense as well off those switches. And he was playmaking at a high level. He finished with 12 assists, and some of those passes were just great passes. He would just dribble penetrate, collapse the defense, and kick it out to an open shooter, or sometimes whoever he kicked it out to will just make the extra pass and they'll shoot it. Now, they did struggle from the three. Otherwise, he probably would have had more assists than he did in this game right here. But me personally, I don't think that just because he's having a terrible scoring or a terrible shooting series, I don't think that should, warrant people bashing him and, saying that he's not that dude. And you hear people saying that he's being carried to a championship. But he's contributing at a high level. If he's not, playmaking at the high level, they probably don't win. If he's not rebounding at the level that he is, they probably don't win that game. If he's not playing elite defense, interior and perimeter, they probably don't win these games right here. So I think personally, Jayson Tatum deserves a lot of credit. I mean, people are not giving him credit because he's been inefficient from the field, but if he's not doing the other things, they probably don't win these games, these first two games, because um other guys can pick up the slack, right? Like Drew Holiday, 26 points, Jaylen Brown, 21 points, Derek White, 18 points. Now, Derek White has been very huge for the Boston Celtics as well. I think he finished with 4 threes. He had a lot of threes, and he was playing some great individual defense on Kyrie Irving. He was making it very difficult for him. So all props to Derek White. But Boston don't win this game if Jayson Tatum is not doing the other things. Now, the other things you don't really get credit for it, right? Because it's not it's not as fancy or it's not flashy. I mean, playing great interior defense, that's not you don't get credit for it, right? If you play some great perimeter defense, you don't really get credit for it. The only thing you get credit for is points. And that's what basketball fans want to see. That's what the casual fans want to see. They want to see 30 points or 40 points. And they want to see Jayson Tatum like explode for these high scoring games. But he really doesn't have to if he has other guys on the floor that can pick up the slack for him in terms of scoring the basketball. Now you have guys, they have 5 guys averaging double figures, right? Jaylen Brown is in double figures. Derek White is in double figures. Holiday's in double figures. And Kristaps Porzingis is also in double figures as well. So there's not all that pressure on Tatum to score all those points because other guys can score the basketball. So he's just doing the other things, rebounding at a high level, right? He's averaging 9.5 rebounds in the series, 12 assists last night, right? And some of the passes that he was making, those were like some Jokic-esque passes. Now, I'm not saying that he's on the same level as Jokic in terms of passing the basketball, but some of the passes that he was making was just he was making the right reads, right? And sometimes just because the players are moving, it makes those passing angles very much easy to make. And he was making the right decision almost every single time. He did finish with three turnovers, but I mean, look at the amount of times he had the ball in his hands, and look at the assists that he racked up. So, having 3 turnovers, that's not really hurtful. That doesn't really hurt him because if you're making all these plays, if you're making all these reads, you might get prone to turn the basketball. You might get prone to turn over the basketball sometimes. So I don't think that people should look at his turnovers or his shooting efficiency and just say that he's not playing at a very high level. He is. Now, the scoring is not what we all wanted it to be like, right? But let's not just forget about the other things he's doing, like the rebounding, the playmaking, the passing, and of course the defense that he's playing on Daniel Gafford and some of these perimeter players. Tune Sports says Boston got too much, which it is true. Boston does have too much. Offensively, defensively, they can afford to make certain mistakes and not lose a game, right? But Dallas cannot afford to. Um, for example, Kyrie cannot afford to have a terrible game because if he does, Dallas is definitely going to lose. Now Boston, they're in a different situation because even if Jayson Tatum is not having a great shooting performance or a great shooting night, he has other guys that can pick up the slack, like a Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, and Kristaps Porzingis. So yeah, I think that's where the difference is. I hear some people giving Tatum a pass because of what he's doing in the other areas. Yeah, and I'm giving him a pass as I mean, I'm not. It's not a pass because it's not a pass, but he's playing at a very high level. I mean, bro, 12 assists. You don't just get 12 assists by not doing anything. I mean, you have to be making the right passes, the right reads, collapsing defenses, dribble penetrating, and causing the Dallas defense to be on a scramble and find mismatch opportunities and make those right passes at the right time. And Drew, like I said, Drew Holiday was making threes. Derek White was making threes. Drew Holiday was pump faking and taking two dribbles, getting to the basket, finishing it up. And sometimes Jayson Tatum just drove down the lane and the defense collapsed on him, and then he'll come to a stop, and then he'll find Drew Holiday on the cut. He'll find Jaylen Brown on the cut. He'll find Derek White in the corner for a three. So it's not really a pass because he's really doing other things. So and those other things are contributing to the wins that they have in the series. So I don't think it's giving them a pass. I think me personally, I'm giving them credit, but if others want to call it giving it a pass, that's a little bit unfair because you don't win basketball games if somebody's not doing these other things. So Jaylen Brown winning Finals MVP, yeah, I believe that too. I have Jaylen Brown winning this Finals MVP. I think he's been the best player for the Boston Celtics. Now Luka has been the best player in the series, right? And I think after this series, we have to dead every Luka versus Jayson Tatum you know, Luka versus Jayson Tatum talk, right? Because there's levels to this, but yeah, Jaylen Brown is definitely the Finals MVP in my opinion. Let LeBron or Mitchell have them stats, it would be different, bro. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, bro. But so yeah, just to recap the Tatum thing, I just think that guys need to give him credit for what he's doing. I mean, 12 assists. I didn't think Jayson Tatum will go for 12 assists in game 2, but he proved me wrong. He got 12 assists, 18 points. I would love for the scoring to be a little bit higher, but if you can give me a double double, I'll definitely take that. And he was one rebound shy from a triple double. He finished with 9 rebounds, but he's doing every other thing other than scoring. So that's that. And the second thing I want to get to is I think Dallas need to find a way to get Daniel Gafford going. Now, Daniel Gafford didn't really have it going in the first half, but in the second half, that's when they were finding some mismatch opportunities for him underneath that basket, and he was going to work. He got the ball one time, and he went at Jayson Tatum. I think it was 2 straight possessions where he was going at him. First one was a drop step, and the second one was a spin. He spun baseline and then dunked it. And like I said, that Kyrie Irving alley oop to him, and he dunked it. I think if they find a way to get him going, Dallas might. They don't have a chance if Gafford is going off and Kyrie's not going off. They're not winning, right? So I think Kyrie has to get going, and Daniel Gafford has to get some mismatch opportunities underneath the basket because he can't spread the floor, right? He's not shooting threes, and Dallas is running more of a 4-out 1-in type offense, and Boston is running a 5-out offense. So I just think that if you can find ways to get him the ball underneath that basket, he can definitely give Jayson Tatum a tough time underneath that basket, and he can definitely make it difficult for him because yeah, Jayson Tatum can. I mean, Jayson Tatum is the same height as him, but let's be honest, bro. Daniel Gafford is way stronger than Jayson Tatum, right? And Daniel Gafford might not have the offensive skill set to constantly punish mismatches underneath the basket. But I just believe that just give him a chance and let's see what he can do. Right? We don't really see him get the ball in that spot. He mainly works off of pick and roll action, getting lobs, alley oops, or sometimes off second chance opportunities. That's where you see Daniel Gafford going off. But in this game right here, like I said, he finished that first half with only 2 points, but in the second half, that's when he gave you, I think, 11 straight points. He gave you 9 rebounds as well. So I just think that they have to find a way to get him the ball in those spots, and let's see what happens from there. Tuna Sports says the Bucks really traded Drew Holiday to another championship. Yeah. Now they thought they were trading him to the Portland Trailblazers and he was gonna rot there. But Boston had different plans and Boston saw the value that he could bring on a championship level team. And so they traded for him. They gave up a few pieces, gave up Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams, and a few a few picks. That shows you how valuable Drew Holiday can be on the championship team because Boston was willing to give up all those pieces for him, and they end up in the finals, right? So shout out to Brad Stevens. I think Brad Stevens has been a great GM for the Celtics. Me personally, I give him more credit as a GM than I do as a head coach because he never got over the hump. He says Darius Garland for Drew Holiday. Let's make it happen. I don't know about that, bro. I don't know, man. Boston, like I keep telling you, bro. Boston don't want midgets. They only have one midget. They have just one midget, right? Peyton Pritchard, and that's it. They don't like midgets because Derek White and Drew Holiday, they 6'4", 6'5". They not little guys. 08 Celtics or 24 Celtics. Wow, that's tough. But man, I'm gonna go for 08 Celtics. They had their bench was much stronger than this year's Celtics, so because they had James Posey, Sam Cassell was on that team. You want Sam Cassell as your coach? He was on that team, right? And yeah, I think they had better bench pieces than the Celtics team has. I think the Celtics team has a better starting five than the 08. Wait, Rondo, damn, Rondo, Allen, Pierce, Garnett, Perkins, Holiday, White, Brown, Tatum, Porzingis. Yo, hey, to the sports, bro. Don't put me, bro. Don't put me in this tough situation, bro. I want to answer that question. But I mean, me personally, I'm gonna definitely go for the 08 Celtics. I think Kevin Garnett was playing at a high level when he got traded there. They because the year before they didn't make the playoffs, but the next year I think they won like 60 plus games and they end up in the finals and they win the championship. So I'll definitely say '08 Celtics. Definitely. Definitely. But yeah, last thing I want to get into, and then I could drop the link for anybody that wants to come in. The last thing I gotta talk about is Dallas has to be better defensively, right? They got to be better defensively, and it starts with the head coach. Now, in game one, they came out a little bit lackadaisical. They didn't really give up. They didn't really give out the effort that they needed to, especially in the finals game. But in this game right here, they did. I think they were better. Their effort was much better than what it was in game one. And better question: Coach Joe or Coach Rivers? Um. See, this question is a little bit because when Joe Mazzulla faced Doc Rivers back in 2023, right? Joe Mazzulla made an adjustment, and Doc Rivers was not able to counter that adjustment. And the adjustment Joe Mazzulla made was to put Al Horford and Robert Williams in the game in the starting five at the same time, and use Al Horford on Joel Embiid, and then use Robert Williams as a roamer because you had yeah, sorry about that, but yeah, he put Al Horford on Embiid, and he put Robert Williams as a safety, as a roamer, where PJ Tucker is not going to be a threat. He's not somebody that's going to catch you on a backdoor cuts, and he's not somebody who looks to move around. So it just made Celtics' job easier guarding Embiid because you had Al Horford, who's already a tough defender on him, right? And then you have a safety in Robert Williams, who's a very great rim protector. So that adjustment right there, Doc Rivers was not able to counter that adjustment, and because of that, I'll definitely favor Joe Mazzulla over Doc Rivers, and I'm just sticking to that. As a rookie, if you beat one of the best head coaches in NBA history, I think you're definitely on the right path. I gotta ask T Sweezy this question. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what T Sweezy. I mean, he'll give Joe Mazzulla a little bit of credit, right, and give all the praise to Ime when Ime was playing drop coverage on Steph Curry. I mean, come on, bro. I'm not a head coach. I'm not gonna play drop on Steph Curry. And one of the best head coaches in the game at the time is playing drop on Steph Curry. What does that tell you? So yeah, but Dallas has to be better defensively, and I don't think they should be switching because they concede some of these switches, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me because they don't have the personnel to deal with these guys on the perimeter. And watching Jayson Tatum dribble penetrate almost every single time, watching Jaylen Brown, get in the middle of the floor, collapse the defense, and make plays, it was just like, yo, this defensive coverage is not working, and we definitely have to switch it up. And I was waiting for Dallas to switch up that defensive coverage. 1 second, yo. Yeah, sorry about that, y'all. I just had to take care of something real quick. But yeah, smash the like button as y'all come in, man. Let me just so I was talking about the defensive coverages that Dallas is using in this last game right here. And I don't think they should be switching because you don't have the personnel to deal with these guys on the perimeter. Now Boston they do have that athletes, right? Jayson Tatum can switch onto the perimeter and for the most part hold his own on the perimeter. Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Derek White, like these guys can definitely keep up on the perimeter, but Dallas doesn't have that, right? You don't have those guys that can you don't have those guys that can really play on the perimeter and keep up with guys. So I don't think they should be switching. Now, Tuna Sports says Luka needs help, period. And sadly, his help won't be enough. I definitely agree, but I mean, I just think that if because keep in mind, Boston is they have a very great game plan, right? They're not giving up corner threes. They don't care about the threes above the break. They're more concerned with the corner threes, and they're running guys off the 3 point line from the corner, but above the break, they could care less about Derrick Jones Jr. shooting threes above the break. They could care less about PJ Washington shooting threes above the break. They care more so for the corner threes, and they're doing a solid job running these guys off the 3 point line from that side of the floor. So you definitely have to give Boston credit on that side of the floor, and their interior defense has been great as well. Al Horford, um, Jayson Tatum, like they're really altering shots and they're not giving up easy switches to Luka Doncic that much, right? Now they switch to him on the perimeter, but in the post, they're not really giving up those switches. And Luka just sometimes got in the paint and he was making some tough shots from the mid range, some tough fadeaway shots as well. And Kyrie Irving wanted to do the same thing, but it was just not his night. And he's been terrible, and he definitely has to be better in order for the Dallas Mavericks to win. Dallas have to make shots too, right? They have to make shots, but the guy, one of the tough shot makers on the team is not making shots. Kyrie Irving is not making shots. He hasn't made a three yet in the series, and that's like when's the last time we ever saw that? When's the last time Kyrie played in two playoff games, right? In a playoff series, the first two games, and not make a 3 pointer. I've never seen it, right? Maybe it happened before that I don't know about, but it's just terrible to see Kyrie just struggle. And some of the shots that he's getting to are usually some of the shots that he makes, but for whatever reason, those shots are not falling. And when he goes to the basket, he's making these shots. Like he had a couple takes to the basket where he drove past Drew Holiday, got to the basket, finished. He drove past Sam Hauser, drove past Derek White, and he was finishing at the rim. So you would think that he should go to the rim most of the time and stop shooting these threes, but it's just Boston is just making it difficult for him because once he drives into that paint, right, they're rotating fast, they're getting to guys, and they're showing bodies at the rim. They're not just letting Kyrie get to the basket at will. So they're making it difficult on both sides, from the 3 point line and the paint, like everywhere. So I just think that J Kidd has to find better spots to put Kyrie in so he could be successful. Otherwise, they're gonna lose this series, and it's not. It'll probably be a 5 game series, like you just said, bro. And I'll live with that. I'll live with that. PJ not no elite shooter, and that's true. But we saw PJ making shots against the OKC Thunder, but the difference was he was making most of those shots in the corner. Now, Boston is not giving up those shots. So you have to make those threes above the break. You have to make those threes at the top of the key or from the wing. And Boston doesn't really respect these guys. So they're not really using a hard closeout when they see PJ Washington shooting a three above the break. It's kind of like a soft closeout. They're running to contest a shot, but it's not as aggressive. It's not as a hard closeout. So they're not, like you said, you wouldn't be bothered with it. Me personally, I wouldn't too. But I think it's just a great strategy all across the board. Promise you, Kyrie will be better in Game 3 back home. So you think it's Celtics? You think it's the Celtics crowd that's getting to him? Because I mean, I don't know, because I think Kyrie has played in much hostile crowds, and he should definitely be used to this crowd. I mean, he played against this crowd in 2017 and 2021, right? I mean, he stepped on Lucky. I mean, everybody steps on him, but so yeah, I think he should definitely be used to. He should be used to this crowd. I don't think this crowd should be getting to him that much, but maybe it is, right? So maybe back home when the crowd is in your favor, you're back at home and on your home court. Maybe he'll probably play better, and maybe the role players will also play better. Maybe PJ Washington will make those threes that he was missing above the break. Maybe Derrick Jones Jr. will make the threes that he was missing from the corner, and guys like Josh Green and I think Dante Exum made a three as well above the break. They left them wide. Like I said, they're leaving these guys wide open because they don't care. And Dante Exum, before that three, he was only 3 for 14 from the 3-point line in the playoffs. But he hits a three. Luka hits a three, and I think PJ Washington hit 1 3, and that was it. So only 3 guys made threes. Luka made 4 of them. PJ Washington made 1, and Dante Exum made 1. So that's 6. And Boston, on the other hand, they made 10 threes. Now, Boston takes a lot of threes, so you would expect them to make it. And they got a lot of wide open looks from the 3-point line as well, right? So, yeah, but just to recap it, Dallas has to be better defensively. Now, they have three off days to prepare for game 3. So, I expect Jason Kidd to come up with a better defensive strategy and a better defensive game plan on how to limit the Boston Celtics' dribble penetration. Because if you keep switching, you're going to concede dribble penetrations, right? They're going to get into the lane. They're going to collapse the defense. And then your defense is going to be on a scramble. And then what would they do? Kick it out to an open shooter for open 3. Kick it out to Derek White. Kick it out to Drew Holiday. Or kick it out to Al Horford. So I expect J.K. to be better, right? And Thomas Talented, I'm calling you out. I saw you in Philly, right? And you didn't say hi or nothing. That's besides the point, right? But when Luka Doncic has a great game, you don't say nothing. I mean, a great scoring game. I don't think he had because he was getting cooked on defense, right? From my notes, he gave up 19 points. They shot 8 for 23 when Luka Doncic was the closest defender, right? So he was getting cooked defensively. But when Luka has a great game offensively, you don't say nothing. I wonder why. I mean, Luka was 50, 40, 50. Now from the free throw line, he was trash. I'm not going to defend that, but it's kind of funny how when he has a great offensive game, you don't say nothing. But when he's 3 for 11 from the 3 or 4 for 12 or whatever, you'll be saying a whole bunch of in my Instagram DMs, and I wonder why. But yeah, shout out to Thomas Talented though. But Thomas, I expect you to give J Kidd a lot of blame because you bashed Ty Lue when the Clippers come up short, right? So I want to see that same energy to Jason Kidd. I want to know why they're switching, right? I want to know why they're not running guys off the 3-point line, right? I don't know why they're double teaming, putting 2 on the ball, and overreacting when certain guys get in the lane, like a Derek White or a Drew Holiday. So, Thomas, if you're listening, I don't know if you're listening. I definitely want to hear you bash J Kidd. So that's that. But Tuna Sports says, I hope not, but I just think when he gets home, he'll be more comfortable. And like I said, and like you said, role players play better at home. Yeah, that is true. But at the same time, the Boston Celtics have been undefeated on the road. So even if the role players play better at home, can Dallas do something that's going to limit the Boston Celtics offensively and defensively because they've been better on the road? They've been undefeated on the road. So that's a question that Dallas has to answer. That's something that J Kidd is going to have to figure out. Whatever defensive coverage that he's going to use, I don't know. I don't want to know, but I better see something better than a switching type defense because that clearly is not working. It hasn't worked, and it's never going to work in this series, especially against these guys. Because these guys, Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, they can blow past anybody, get in the lane, and wreak havoc in the paint. So Dallas has to be better defensively. Tuna Sports says, congratulations to the Boston Celtics on banner 18. I mean, I think it's too soon for you to crown them champions. I mean, if they go up 3-0, then yeah, they're definitely gonna be champions. But down 0-2, I mean, I've seen Luka Doncic come back down from 0-2, right? Back in 2022 when they beat the Phoenix Suns in 7 games. And we all remember everybody acting tough when they up. Everybody acted tough when they up. So if I'm Boston, I'm not gonna act tough, right? Because being up 2-0 is not that big of a separation. It's not that big of a gap. It's not enough separation. So, and I mean, in this decade, we saw Phoenix go up 2-0 and Milwaukee just walked them down 4 straight. So, I'm not going to say banner 18, but they're definitely on the right path in my opinion. Stop it, DFJ. It's over. Bro, let me see how they respond back at home because bro, like I said, you're down just 2 games, and bro, we saw Minnesota come back when they lost their first 2 games on the at home, right? And they went on the road and they got back those 2 games back. So I just don't know because I thought you thought it was over. You thought it was over for Denver, and I thought it was over for Denver, but they proved us wrong, and they evened out the series. They went up 3-2, and unfortunately, they blew a 3-2 lead. But let's just see because being up 0-2 is not that big of a separation. It's not that big of a gap. So I'm not gonna crown them champions. I mean, if you're gonna crown them champions, that's fine. And I got your comment right here. So if they get walked down, you definitely know where I'll find you at. Bruce, yeah. Hey Bruce, I appreciate you for stopping by. He says Dallas will win this series. Bruce, I don't know if you're trolling or you're being serious because I mean you're a little bit, you be trolling sometimes, but uh, I don't know. But if they're gonna win the series, the defense has to be better, right? Defense has to be better. That switching type defense, that's not gonna work because Luka Doncic and Kyrie they get blown by almost every single time, right? And from my notes, like I gave you the stats, Luka gave up 19 points and Kyrie gave up 23, right? But let's count the number of times that they got blown by and they made a play in the paint and somebody missed a three. I mean, if they made those shots, those are definitely plays that impact both Luca and Kyrie's defensive rating because it was on their watch. So they have to be better. J Kid has to be better, right? And Bruce, I don't know if you want to come in. I don't know if you're busy right now, so you could give me your thoughts on who you thought. I mean, what you thought about this game 1 and game 2. Uh, I think they definitely improved from game 1 because they came out a little bit lackadaisical. They didn't really make a lot of shots, little ball movement, little player movement. But in this game right here, I think they moved the ball a little bit more. I think Luca he did what he could. He did his best, especially in that first half. I think he finished the first half with 23 points. And in the second half, that's when he saw those double teams. They were blitzing him, trapping him, trying to get the ball out of his hands and force somebody else to beat them because Luca was scorching hot. But yeah, Bruce said, hello, DFJ. Hello, Tuna Sports. Yeah. I'm over it. Tuna Sports, how you gonna give up on your jersey, brother, bro? That's terrible. But Tuna Sports, don't make it seem like we haven't seen guys come back down from 0-2 because we've seen them multiple times. We saw this in these playoffs. Denver came back 0-2 from the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now they ended up losing the series, but I'm just talking about evening out the series when you're down 0-2. Like we've seen a team do it this year, so I'm not gonna count that possibility out, but it's definitely gonna be tough for Dallas. I think it definitely has to be a team effort. Everybody has to be better. Kyrie, PJ Washington, Derrick Jones Jr. And Derrick Jones Jr. was also getting baked on defense by Tatum. But it was funny. And that's where I kind of like question like why is Tatum jacking up threes? Because Derrick Jones Jr. cannot guard you off the dribble. So it'd be better if you attack the rack, but he wants to get fancy. He wants to get a little bit pretty. So he'd rather, jack up shots, jack up threes. He was only 1 for 6 from the 3-point line or 1 for 7, one of them. And my whole thing was like, bro, just keep attacking the basket because these guys cannot guard y'all off the dribble. Every time y'all dribble penetrate, it causes their defense to scramble. It causes their defense to be in a full rotation, and y'all end up generating a lot of wide open looks out of it. So why are you not attacking the basket? Now, Tatum did miss a few layups right here and there, which he definitely has to be better. But I think he should attack the basket more, and that's what I love about Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown was putting his head down, going downhill, and just attacking the basket because he knew Luka cannot stay in front of him. And that dunk that he had down in transition, that was a great dunk in my opinion. That was just a great dunk. Yeah. Tuna Sports says Tatum needs to act like he's 6'8" or whatever he is. Yeah, he's 6'8", 6'9", right? But he has to. I think he should attack the basket more and stop settling for threes. I don't know why. I mean, that's how Boston plays. They jack up a lot of threes, but some of his threes is just like, bro, it'd be better if you attack the basket because these guys cannot guard y'all. I mean, Luka, like all these guys, they have all these perimeter liabilities out there on the floor. So you would expect them to attack the basket more, but they want to jack up threes. They jacked up how many threes? 39, made only 10, right? So I think that's something that they'll probably try in games 3, right? I think Jayson Tatum is going to look to go downhill more and try to put pressure on the rim. I think that's probably what he's going to do. I don't think he's going to jack up a lot of threes in game 3. I don't see that happening. I mean, it could happen, but I just don't. I just don't see that happening. And yeah, I dropped the link if y'all want to come in and give me y'all thoughts. The link is right down there. So yeah, but good game from the Celtics. Did what they were supposed to do, protecting home court, and that's what home court is all about. I mean, you have the crowd in your favor. You're playing on the court that you're familiar with, right? So it kind of like makes everything much more easier. You're able to exist as a unit, and they're playing. They're sticking together offensively and defensively. I don't think somebody or anybody was trying to get their quick points. I don't think Tatum was trying to get his quick points, right? He didn't really jack up. He wasn't really shot jacking like that for the most part. Now he did take 22 shots, but I mean Jaylen Brown had 15, Derek White had 15, Holiday had 14, right? And shout out to Drew Holiday again. Yeah, shout out to Drew. I like Drew Holiday. I wish the Sixers still had him, right? But hey, it is what it is. He's in a situation where he's able to flourish and he's not forced to be a second option, right? Which if you're second option, it's not that easy to be a second option and also guard the other team's best player. You know, it's not easy to be the first option and guard the other team's best player as well. So with Drew Holiday being in this situation, being able to be a fourth or sometimes a fifth option. I mean, last night he finished with the most points, but he didn't jack up the most shots, right? He just took what the defense gave him, made the threes that were available to him. He moved, right? He caught the defense off guard almost all the time when he made those backdoor cuts. And Jayson Tatum was just making the right reads in the right plays, finding them underneath the basket, finding them on the baseline. And, sometimes finding them in the weak side corner, and then he'll take 2 dribbles and, Euro step and then finish with his right hand. Those are plays that, Drew was making, and I was really happy for him that he was having so much fun out there on the floor. Tuna Sports says if Kyrie wakes up, the Mavs can push this to 6 games, but lose. Oh, so you don't have the Mavs winning the series. Wow. I thought you had Dallas winning the series though. Yeah, you turned on Kyrie so quickly, bro. I can't believe it. Yeah. I can't believe it, bro. I sure can't. But yeah, if y'all want to come in, yeah, the link is right down there. Give me your thoughts on this game. What do you think Dallas could have done better to win this game? With Boston struggling from the 3-point line as much as they did, but their defense helped them a lot. Their ability to generate rim pressure and finish at the basket, get to the free throw line. That helped them as well. So they don't win games just by shooting threes. Their defense helps them a little bit. Um, their mid range shots help them a little bit. I mean, Kristaps Porzingis got in the game, and he was just like he was doing in game one. He was punishing mismatches from the mid range. Shooting those. I mean, nobody can stop him. Nobody can block his shot. So all he'll do is just rise and shoot over the top of you. And he was making shots like that. So yeah, shout out to Kristaps Porzingis. He did go down with the leg injury, but hopefully he's good enough to play in games 3 and 4. After the game, he did say that he'll probably die out there. So that shows you that he's willing to give it everything he has to help his team win a championship. And that's something that you like to see from your best players. If they're willing to go out there and give it everything they have and leave it out there on the floor. Now, if you're severely hurt, then yeah, you should definitely set out. But if it's something you can push through, then you should definitely be out there. Yeah, since ain't nobody coming in, probably gotta shut this down. And Tuna Sports, I got the outline, but I didn't send it to you. But I'm gonna send it to you after I get off here. I'm gonna definitely send it to you. But I appreciate each and every person that stopped by. My guy Humble, always supporting, always showing love. Every time I come live, he's always in the comment section supporting me. So shout out to my guy Humble 420. Shout out to my guy Tuna Sports, Cleveland Cavaliers content creator. Shout out to Bruce Morrow. Shout out to Bruce. I appreciate the love and support. Tuna Sports says this JB. Nah, stop it. Yeah, stop it. But yeah, I appreciate the love and support that y'all been showing. And I'm gonna definitely be live tomorrow, but it'll be a different topic. Appreciate the love, appreciate the support. As always, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.